All right, welcome to the first channel review. In this video, we're going to be reviewing your channel. So I've asked everyone in the course to submit some of their channels or people who were open to submitting their channels to put them in a Google Drive spreadsheet. And that's what we have right here. I went over the channels. I picked out the ones where I think most improvement could be achieved. And we're going to, in the following few videos, review these channels and I'll give you exactly what I would change and perhaps the new strategy I would adjust your channel into. Right. So starting off with this channel right here called Tennis Studio. Now, first of all, when we look at the channel itself, the branding, it doesn't really matter. But where it really goes wrong is that, first of all, they had a different format going before and then they switched it. Preferably, you don't really want to do this. But again, they pivoted and it worked out for them, so that's fine. But again, what I would suggest is that, as you can see right here, they entered quite a saturated niche or something that's probably been done quite a lot of times before, and that didn't work out in the first place. So if you watched my course, you should have known that, for example, luxury content, it doesn't really work anymore, right? So this is the first crucial mistake they made. Now, obviously, they pivoted, which worked out decently for them, but still, there is a ton of mistakes happening right here. First of all, if we look at the most recent few videos, because I think those are the best benchmarks, obviously, the first thing that you will probably see is that the thumbnails are super hard to read. So the readability of these thumbnails are really bad. And with readability, I don't mean, okay, the text is difficult to read, which, for example, in this thumbnail it is. You always have to think about, okay, where is the length of the video or the length counter going to be in my thumbnail? Because as you can see right here, the text is going right under the length counter, making it hard to read. And it's a very common mistake beginners make on YouTube. You always want to try to position your text or important elements away from that bottom corner, because otherwise it will get covered up. Now, that's not the biggest issue, I would say. The biggest issue right here is that what is going on in this thumbnail? It's super difficult to see what's going on. And it might be clear to you that bees are attacking this tennis player, but if you should be able to, with one glance at the thumbnail, be able to understand what's going on. And it will take a viewer a very long time to analyze what's happening in this thumbnail right here. Right? So that's point one. And the second thing that's kind of bothering me is that you're repeating your title in your thumbnail. You have to see it like this. You have limited advertising space when you're trying to, advertise your YouTube videos to viewers. So what he's doing here, he's repeating his title basically in the thumbnail, and that's such a waste of space. And you could have used that space for so many other different things, to make sure a viewer clicks. Because now you're basically wasting precious space you could have used for interesting elements or something that guides the viewer's eyes to important parts of the thumbnails for text that gets covered by the length counter from YouTube, right? So that's a very big mistake right there. So I think the biggest issue with this thumbnail overall is that it's just very difficult to see what's going on. The concept also, in my opinion, isn't that interesting. When we talk about craziest moments, I would probably have like, you could do something where a spectator runs across the field or something perhaps more authentic and realistic. Usually nowadays, what you will see in YouTube quite a lot is that the more realistic thumbnails are performing better than things that are, extremely unlikely to happen. So things like a dog or a cat running onto the sports field would be a good example for the craziest moments, or that he's saying something to another tennis player. And you will see this also when for we look at one of my old tennis channels, for example. If you look at these thumbnails, you will see that the composition will be a lot clearer. So let's go over to my channel. So if you look at these thumbnails, it's way easier to see what's going on, right? First of all, we identified, okay, what does the best? Well, we see definitely that the tennis field thumbnails do the best overall. But also, as you can see, the composition is way clear. You can easily understand, okay, what's going on in this thumbnail, right? As you can see, it's a simple element, just the arrow to hole. And this way, it's easier for people to analyze a thumbnail and click instantly. You don't want them to have to think about thumbnails. So that's a very, very big mistake right off the bat. Now, the second or the last thumbnail or the video you uploaded has the exact same mistake. First of all, there's a massive text right here. Half the image is blurred. And then you're using a black line, which doesn't contrast the tennis field and the green part nicely at all. So very big mistake. Instead, you should have just copied what I'm doing here. This yellow line, it stands out way more compared to the green and blue background. So that's a very, very big mistake right here, is that it's super difficult to understand what's going on. And then the nobody expected text also really isn't needed here. As you can see, this video got 400,000 views without any text. It's not necessary in this situation, right? Because it's kind of clear what's going on if you would make sure it's easy to see that line, right? So again, these thumbnails need a lot of improvements. Now, the titles aren't that bad overall. I would the title strategy is not that bad, so you can kind of keep it this way. But then there's another really big mistake that's happening. If we look at your videos and
to my shock,
this is what happens quite a lot, is that these videos are super bland. Let's have a look at this video and just think to yourself, okay, what would I personally improve here?
Have you ever watched a tennis match and witnessed a shot that left you in awe, wondering how a player could make such an incredible move? Tennis legend Roger Federer is no...
Okay, I would have clicked off at this point. First of all, the voiceover is super, super monotone and boring to listen to. We're talking, we're expecting the most genius trick shots. And we have not seen a single, genius trick shot or anything interesting in the first few seconds. There's no energy to the video. So the video feels very slow and boring. And, you're not delivering on what people expect when they see the thumbnail. For example, if we look at the channel Rebound, right, and we look at this video right here, Time Sports Fans Went Too Far, you will see how he matches the first scene of the video to the thumbnail. So keep in mind, this is the thumbnail of a guy running with a burning flag across a sports field, right? So let's click on the video and see what happens when we watch the video.
Baseball was
So we'll go to the first few seconds of the video and watch how much energy and how fast he delivers on the thumbnail, as well as how fast he delivers on setting the stakes for the channel, or setting the stakes for the YouTube video.
a fan ruining an NBA game.
See? Boom. Matches exactly what people expect when they clicked on the thumbnail.
A stadium TPing a field mid-match. This parachuter interrupting the World Series. These are 20 times sports fans went too far. And first, a fan at the Tour de France wanted...
So as you can see, boom. Straight off the bat, lots of energy, delivering on that thumbnail. Also, using this title card, they immediately tease what else is coming up in this video. So again, this is a very great example of what you could have done with this video, right? So it's super, super easy. And I do the same thing on my channels as well. So for example, this is one of the channels I own, and this is the thumbnail. So you see a guy about to get slammed. So I do the same thing in the first few seconds of the video. If you look at this, first of all, we say, okay, we're going to deliver on the title and thumbnail. So we say, okay, you clicked on the right video by doing this. Okay, look at this.
These are the slam KOs that defy the very laws of physics.
So as you can see right here, just in the first 3 seconds, you can kind of see this thumbnail come back in this
20 of the greatest slam knockouts in MMA history. And we're coming in first with a
and boom, right before before we even hit 10 seconds, we're onto the first entry. That's how fast you want it to be. You have less than 10 seconds to capture that attention, and that's exactly what we do right here. And that's the same thing all these bigger sports channels do, and that's not what you're doing. So again, these videos could be much better. It doesn't need crazy editing, but at least the structure can be improved, right? You don't need crazy VFX, but you just have to know how to structure these videos. You because if you just added a bit of background music, matched cut, whatever this thumbnail was, you could have easily traced for the first clip, traced like a ball with a yellow line behind it, going around the field to kind of mimic the thumbnail right here. That easily could have increased the retention, and perhaps this video could have gone viral if you just change the thumbnail up a little bit more to what we have over at those. And then same thing for this one. Probably some hardcore tennis fans watch this video, but then again, the thumbnail isn't clear enough, when the video probably also wasn't good enough for YouTube to keep pushing that video, and that's the exact mistake you're making. So that's the first video or first channel on the review list. I hope you guys found this very valuable, and thank you very much for watching. All right, welcome to this second channel review. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the YouTube channel Code Green, which is made by one of you. So first of all, when we look at this channel, I really like the niche. The niche of hacking has been doing very well, or cybercrime has been doing very well recently, especially with a lot of up and coming channels in this niche. It's very interesting to look at. Now, the thing that I really like about this channel is it really shows clearly the correlation between these longer videos and performance. I just want you to take note, first of all, when we look at this channel, how the views are kind of correlated to the length of a video. So if you see here, 7 minutes, 1,000 views, 5 minutes, 600 views, 3 minutes, 1.2k, and so it goes on. Here you can kind of see the length of the video increasing to 22 minutes. It gets 11,000 views, goes back down to 14 minutes, 4.3 thousand views, and then 50 minutes, 200,000 views, then 48 minutes, 52,000 views, and then we go down back to 17 minutes, 8,000 views, 1 hour, 44,000 views, again a little bit shorter, 33 minutes, 10,000 views, and 33 minutes, 6,000 views. So first of all, you can see that there's kind of a correlation on this channel between the video length and the performance of the video. Now, I'm not arguing that this is the sole reason why this channel is doing well or why these videos are doing well, but I think it is a very big contributing factor, because essentially when you're making these type of longer videos on a channel, what happens is that these videos will appeal to a different audience than the shorter videos you were making before. Usually this audience will put these videos on in the background. So in this way, you will be appealing to a different audience and competing with other competitors, and it might be easier to break through the competition on this level of hour-long videos, right? So I would suggest try to pull your videos up to 1 hour each, because you can see that there's a clear correlation between longer videos and higher performance. So that's the first thing I would suggest. Now, the second thing I would really like to note is that the thumbnails are actually pretty decent. The packaging is actually really good as well. Obviously, there's things to be improved, but in my opinion, looking at this channel, the biggest thing that could probably be improved would be, the video quality itself. If you look at most of these videos, they're actually not super difficult to make. Now, obviously, when you're making 1 hour long videos, that's understandable, but what I actually would suggest you do is try to invest a little bit more in those first 5 or 10 minutes of the video or so to try and get viewers invested. So perhaps what you want to do is get 2 different editors and make the first bit of the video super high quality, perhaps in the style of the Disrupt TV, or perhaps another big reality or another big hacking channel on YouTube, and try to kind of mimic those channels in the first, let's say, 5 minutes or so, and then afterwards you can kind of switch back to lower quality, more stock footage related videos. So again, try to really keep on leaning into those longer videos. That has been serving you very well, and your RPM and profitability on this channel will also go up. So make sure you keep repeating that as well. Now, let's just have a look at these videos, because the intro is pretty decent.
Last Friday, hundreds of thousands of computers around the world were hit by a cyber attack from a computer virus called, appropriately, WannaCry.
The biggest cyber attack of its kind in history.
Computer security programmers were able to stop the attack.
The man who stopped the WannaCry cyber attack was just arrested for creating a virus of...
Then, he spotted them again. The black SUV parked near the mansion a few hours later. He took an Uber to the airport.
Now, as you can see, the visuals aren't necessarily super great at all. Now, it's not necessarily needed on this channel because, again, I think a lot of people put these videos on in the background. But what I would suggest is perhaps get a voiceover or that has a little bit of a better mic. This voiceover is a bit soft and it could sound a little bit more crispy. And especially you have to think about these viewers, they're coming for the audio as well as, the story itself as well. So keep that in mind when you're making these videos, because where I kind of want to transition into is that, especially looking at your videos, is that most these topics have been covered before by bigger channels. For example, WannaCry, that video already has been covered by Disrupt TV. Now, there's no harm in replicating that, but what you do want to take note of is that obviously your video is first going to get pushed to a core audience, and that core audience will most likely have seen this WannaCry video already. So I think why this video kind of worked here is because you kind of took a different angle on it. Here you kind of follow the story of WannaCry. This is more like the story of the person who saved it. So I think you should kind of keep leaning into different perspectives on these bigger hacker stories. And if you're able to do so, I would suggest try to find more unknown stories, because I think that will appeal better to that core audience and will get you pushed out to eventually a little bit of a broader one. Because I think a lot of these videos get watched by a core audience of people who are interested in hacking content, and what happens afterwards is that those core audience, or that core audience, will already have seen these stories or already listened to those stories and will most likely click off because they've heard it before. So keep that in mind. Try to measure the difference in performance between well-known stories versus stories that have been covered before. And I think this is kind of true for every single channel on YouTube. You have to really think about, okay, first, how will my core audience react, and will they react appropriately, or will they react in the right way? And if I can get them to react in the right way and then have the video also be appealing to a wider audience, that's the formula for a viral video. So that's really what this channel can improve as well. Now, another thing is, perhaps I see you've been kind of experimenting with the packaging. Perhaps try some of the packaging of the Disrupt TV. This has been doing pretty consistent for them as well. So these types of different faces have been doing really, really well. I'm kind of surprised you really haven't done that yet, because it's so relevant to your niche, and it's clearly an outlier on Disrupt TV as well as on other channels in this niche, right? So trying to replicate that packaging might be a good one as well moving forward. Other than that, channel is very solid. I think you could, or you're already probably making a good bit of money off this channel. I would definitely try to increase the upload frequency. So try and scale your team at this point. I understand that you're making 1 hour long videos, but again, it's important if you can get these videos out perhaps bi-daily. You can really get this channel to perhaps $1,500 a day. You're already on a really good path. So yeah, really, really good work so far. And that's what I would do if I was running this channel. Anyway, I hope it was valuable, and thank you very much for watching. All right, welcome to the third channel review. So in this review, we'll be reviewing the channel Marketing Monsters. Now, it's not necessarily a faceless channel, but the format he's applying to this channel can also be very easily transformed into a faceless channel. So that's why I still kind of wanted to go over this one, because I think this channel contains quite a valuable lesson. Now, the nice part about this channel, and I looked at these videos, is that they're actually very well structured videos. The retention tactics are very nice. They're very easy to listen to. And I think the stories he's telling are very, very interesting. I think the big mistake or the problem with this channel truly lies, and this happens with a lot of channels, at the way, first of all, the channel is positioned in the market. It's not necessarily following one specific format. It's kind of like bouncing all over the place, in my opinion. Like, it's going from like magnet media type of packaging over to talking about scams. We're quite all over the place with this channel, and that's not really what you want. So that's the first mistake. The positioning is a bit wrong. So what I would suggest you do, first of all, is that if you see a channel that's kind of bouncing all over the place, that you try to hone in on one specific area. Because right now, obviously, you can talk about marketing in general, and that's perfectly fine, but that only works if you have an established audience. And right now, you're still trying to find an audience. But the interesting part is that you have seen some success right here. So I'm very happy to see that right after you got a video that did well, that you start replicating this. That's exactly what you should be doing. You find a format that works, you stick to it, and you try to milk it out as long as possible. That's very, very, very important. Now, before we get into anything else, I want to discuss, why did these videos not perform very, very good? Well, the first thing is that there is a fundamental mistake with the titles. So I want to first highlight a couple of titles. First of all, would be the Scottish scam will change YouTube forever. So the issue is that the YouTuber he's talking about, for example, in this video right here, you would think this video can get quite a lot of views. The issue with it, though, is that Scottish, the YouTuber he's talking about right here, is actually quite a small YouTuber. This YouTuber has, I think, somewhere between 1 and 2 million subscribers. Now, it seems large, but actually this is quite a small fish in the pond. Instead, and you will see this mistake happen quite a lot in the titles of these videos. Instead, what you should have done is you try to target a little bit broader audience, because this is already quite a niche space you're talking about, because you're only talking about a YouTuber with 1 or 2 million views, and this YouTuber itself is only getting like 60,000 views per video. So you have to imagine how small the target audience is right here. You always have to think about, when you're making a video, okay, so how big is my target audience? And if we would have thought about it in this video right here, you would have realized that you would probably wanted to change the packaging. Now, obviously, I'm reviewing a bit of an older video, so this might be irrelevant and you might have already learned this lesson, but I just still wanted to highlight it because it's a valuable lesson for other people in the course as well. Instead, what I would have done on this video right here is do something like the problem with YouTube sponsorships. So you could have done something similar to either this channel, and there is another one that also recently popped up and is doing very, very well as well. I can't currently seem to find it. But it's also a video about a similar topic, but then about sponsorships or products YouTubers make. Now, what I would have done with this video instead is title it something like "The Problem with Exposing YouTubers," or no, that's not a good title. I would say something like "The Problem with the problem. So I would do something probably like the problem with scam review YouTubers or something like that. You kind of want to put it a little bit broader. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of different variations. I'm not sure how you would refer these YouTubers like Coffeezilla. I'm not sure how you would refer to them in general. Perhaps like scam exposers or scam detectives, or the problem with YouTube detectives or something like that. So YouTube scam detectives, right? You could do something like this, or the hypocrisy of YouTube scam detectives. That is such a more triggering title than the Scottish scam will change YouTube forever, right? That's such a niche title. So if you would pull that title a little bit broader, now obviously the titles I came up with before weren't optimal. I'm just kind of winging those at the moment, but still, if you pull those titles broader and you make them a little bit more emotional impact, a little bit more emotional, like the hypocrisy of scam review YouTubers, right? First of all, you're making that title broader, but also you're making it a little bit more impactful, because it's easy to think as a viewer, okay, if Coffeezilla or Scott, this guy, is being a hypocrite, that's very ironic, right? Because they're exposing scams, so maybe they're the scammer themselves, and that starts making questions in the viewer's brain, and that's exactly what you want. And this really doesn't trigger me too much. The titles are phrased a bit weird, and the thumbnail also really doesn't trigger too much in me as well. And I think this problem arises multiple times throughout the channel. This one, the title on this one, I do like. It's pretty good. But again, you're hopping from place to place. So we see a bunch of scam-related content, and then why Burger King won't shut up about McDonald's. All of a sudden, we're back to marketing. And then here we're back to scam-related content. So we're kind of hopping all over the place, which makes it very difficult for YouTube to pinpoint who exactly your audience is. You might think these things are all related, but you will be surprised how different of an audience all of these videos will be pulling. So every time you kind of change your format, you make YouTube have to search for your audience all over again, which takes, first of all, it will take YouTube longer to pinpoint your audience, and most of the time YouTube will give up before it even finds your audience. So you really want to stick, especially as a small channel, to one specific format and just keep hammering at it. So I'm very glad right here you found something that works. I would suggest you keep at it and try to keep innovating or keep pushing on this format, because it seems to work for your channel, and I would encourage everyone else in the course to do the same. Try to stick to one experiment at a time, make a hypothesis, and try to actually stick to that theme. Try to pinpoint, okay, who is my audience? Why do they like this format? And keep repeating that format until you've diagnosed that either a format works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you switch to the next format, right? You don't do a bunch of different formats or topics like this through each other. It only works in a backwards way or a counteractive way. You don't want to be doing something like that, right? But as far as packaging and videos goes, he's definitely doing that very, very well. The packaging is very clear, although there can be some improvement in some of the titles. For example, Sapiens, How a Mind Fire Sold 40 Million Books. I think this is still quite a niche title. I would, for example, phrase this differently again. Like, I've read the book Sapiens, but I would still phrase it something like how this guy sold 40 million books and scammed all of his readers, or something like this. Like, how he sold 40 million scammed books, or something like that, right? Again, the titles could be better. You kind of have to brainstorm on it, but still, like, I would make the titling of this video a little bit broader, and same thing goes for the packaging as well. You really have to think about, okay, how large is my audience size on these type of videos? So that's really, really important. The same thing for the impossible business model of free water. Now, by coincidence, I know what free water is, but I would still, again, pull this a little bit broader. How this TikTok company is scamming you or something like this, right? That will appeal to a way broader audience than the impossible business model of free water. And especially if you're kind of referring to it like a scam because you're saying it's an actor, that the title could have reflected that a little bit better, right? So this is a very nice one. You're leading into the paradox. So the reason this is working is because, again, we discussed this earlier, I'm pretty sure, but videos surrounding paradoxes are doing really well, and it originated from Todd Ford, from the Adam Sandler paradox. So I think you can keep making these longer documentary videos on, for example, paradoxes in business or paradoxes in marketing. I think that's very interesting to kind of take this format, the Adam Sandler paradox. You also have this one, the Christian Bale paradox, and it's currently kind of in the movie niche, and you can kind of take it over into the business niche. So perhaps you could do something like the Elon Musk paradox, or the, whatever. You can kind of copy these titles from the movie niche into perhaps the business niche, right? It might work because this video also did well. Other than that, great channel. The videos are really good. I watched a little bit of them, and they really caught my attention. I just think, the ideation, the title, and the thumbnail can use a little bit of work in terms of the way you position yourself. Other than that, great work on the channel, man. And I hope this video was very valuable, and thank you very much for watching. All right, welcome to the 4th channel review. Now, in this video, we'll be reviewing the channel Weird History. Now, this channel will be very, very interesting to review. Why? Because I think there's a fundamental flaw in the channel itself. First of all, we see they're focusing way too much on shorts, and it kind of reflects back into the long form videos. There is no structure to the strategy of this channel whatsoever, and there's a lot of things you could improve here, right? First of all, I'm just going to keep it very basic. We'll get to the more advanced stuff later down the line, so don't worry. But first of all, what I want to highlight is that, these thumbnails are never, ever, ever going to work. Why? Because, again, why would someone click on this? It's just a static image of a guy just standing there, and then the title is Lost Legions, the Enigma of Roman's 9th Legion. Super confusing title. The thumbnail doesn't match at all. Fundamentally, there's basically nothing here that goes right. Second of all, you're making a 1 minute long video, and also same for these videos, making a 1 minute long video in a niche where the audience is used to watching very, very long videos, like 20-minute long videos. And basically, you're trying to compete with other channels in the same niche that have way longer watch time than you, and you will get beat out by those channels with, that longer watch time. So first of all, this video entirely goes just fundamentally wrong. Also, another thing is, if you just kind of look at the video itself, the video isn't very well put together. The effects are very basic. It seems to be like just old pictures with some transition and voiceover thrown over it. This won't get monetized in the first place. You really have to put a little bit more effort into the editing, and yeah, this is probably not gonna get monetized, so keep that in mind. Now, this is surprisingly, again, it's a very bad thumbnail, first of all, but what you have to keep in mind here is that what's happening here, the fact that he's putting the title in the thumbnail, is something that's very, very common actually. So even though the thumbnail looks really bad and there's so much to improve, try and take away from this lesson is never ever put your title or repeat your title in the thumbnail. That's the worst thing you could do. The thumbnail always has to add on to the title. And I'll show you some examples later down the line. But then we have 10 most mysterious monuments on Earth. And then hashtag archaeology, hashtag history. Hashtags basically don't do anything for the growth of your channel or the growth of your videos. Those hashtags can be left out of the video entirely. Don't add them in. They're only confusing and it won't help with getting your video more views. So remove those hashtags and please try and make these thumbnails more engaging because you can hardly see what's going on, right? I see a red circle over the swings. It doesn't say anything to me. This thumbnail is basically wrong on every fundamental level, and I'll show you how it can be done later down the line. But basically the same pattern repeats over and over again. Now the best video out of all of these were this one, The Dark Side of Famous Inventors You Never Knew. That's a pretty decent video idea, and I mean the thumbnail isn't as bad as the other ones, right? So you kind of see that back in the results. It's a bit of a given, but I think the first thing that goes wrong here is that there's no strategy behind this channel. There's no he's not been researching niches. He's not been looking at, okay, what has worked, what has worked and what has, right? That's what you want to do in the first place. So I saw the name of the channel was Weird History. So I kind of reminded me of this other niche. It might indeed be a very, very weird other channel that I'm about to show. But again, it's a niche. It gets results. I've seen multiple channels do well with this format. So still, you can kind of take some inspiration of it. But keep in mind, it might be a little bit of a strange channel. So moving into this channel right here, we have a channel with 81,000 subscribers and 94 videos. The most popular video was uploaded around 11 months ago with 2.7 million views, and the channel is a little bit older, but there's a bunch of other channels in this exact same niche also pulling similar numbers as to this one. So as you can see, if you look at this channel, the views are quite consistent actually, especially if you look at a little bit older videos. You often see that these videos get 250, 130k, and then 20s, 76, sometimes 9k. But most of the time, these videos do perform pretty well. So what I would do is literally, you can see right here that this thumbnail format does very well. So I would just literally look at this channel and copy the format one-on-one. And perhaps you can even make videos with a little bit longer, or a little bit of a longer video series. So I would make these videos perhaps 20 minutes long. And there's definitely much you can basically just take over from this channel one-on-one, right? And I think it kind of fits the branding of your channel and the idea of your channel very well. And if you just literally stick to this format, I will guarantee you that you will get 10 times more results than what you're getting right now on this channel. So always make sure you have an example format and that you're not just shooting in the dark, because this is what happens if you don't have an example channel or a benchmark. You're gonna completely miss the target, and it's super important that you just have a anchor somewhere that you can refer back to and understand, okay, this is working for them. Okay, I'm going to take the things that are working and I'm going to improve it, and that's what I'm going to stick to on this channel, right? But now it's all over the place, and this is something I often see happen. And now this is quite of a extreme example, but still this is a very common mistake. So I didn't really look at the videos, but it's mainly just pictures with, again, voiceover and text. I would suggest to spice up the videos a little bit more. The chance that you will get into the YouTube Partner Program with these videos is quite low. So again, please try to increase the quality on these videos. Other than that, I hope this was a super valuable lesson. So again, try to always stick as a beginner to a benchmark channel. So you have to be able to look at another channel and kind of not exactly like copy the thumbnails 101, but kind of use it as a benchmark, right? Otherwise, you're going to miss the mark by 1,000 meters. So, yeah, that's a very important lesson right here. While this is an extreme example, very important lesson. Right. I hope this was a super helpful video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the Discord chat or the community. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye. All right. Welcome to the 5th channel review. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the channel How Does. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting case study or review of this channel, since the thumbnails are really, really good, but there are a few fundamental flaws when it comes to this channel. So first of all, I want you to note the patterns when going through this channel. So always when you open up a channel, the first thing you're looking at is not so much the first few videos you see, but more so you're trying to spot certain patterns. So let's go through these videos together and let's try to spot patterns. And in patterns, I mean, okay, what type of videos get views? Why do they get views? Is there a certain length that increases the performance of certain videos? So let's go through this channel and see what we find, right? So let's go. These videos aren't doing too well. This one as well. So we can kind of skip those, skip these videos. And then we have a video, how does a rocket engine work? It seems to be a little bit of an outlier. So let's keep that in mind. Then we have how does Earth move through space? Also seem to do pretty decently. Then moving on, we had this video, how does gravity work? That's also a video that did pretty decently. Then moving through, we have another video on how does a rocket move in space. And then we have how does Earth's rotation happen with 1 million views. And that's basically all for the outliers. Now, I want you to look at these most popular videos and kind of think to yourself, okay, what can I spot? What is the common denominator through all these videos? Well, I think the most obvious one right here would be they all have the most common outliers, top 2, all have something to do with space and the Earth. So that's the first thing. And then second of all these videos have something to do with space itself, right? We see that the videos that kind of deviate from that subject genuinely just perform a little bit less. So especially if we scroll all the way down, these things surrounding vaccines, muscle growth, this video right here, climate, they do a little bit less, as you can see right there. So that's quite interesting. What we want to do now is, okay, we see that these videos up top did the best. So first of all, what I would have done in the case I was the channel owner right here, I would have just kept going on the things that were working for us, right? So I would kind of look at these videos and go, okay, first of all, I want to figure out why did these videos do well. Now, obviously, we can kind of hypothesize on why these did do well, but the problem with these really is that it's such a small sample size to draw any conclusions from. So most optimally, what we kind of want to do at this point is kind of expand our context horizon. And with context horizon is I want us to start taking in the landscape of what our competitors are doing, what is working for them, and do we see similar patterns on their channel? Because we're trying to find a certain pattern that works for multiple channels, right? That's always the way you want to be looking at your own channel when trying to make decisions. You're always trying to spot patterns and capitalize on profitable patterns on YouTube. So very, very important to learn how to recognize these patterns. Now, let's go ahead and basically just copy the most popular titles and see what comes up. So let's go first and ask, how does Earth's rotation happen? So let's see what shows up when we type this in. So basically, again, the following method is nearly the same as when we're searching for niches. So optimally, we kind of want to be looking at those smaller channels with a lot of views. So first of all, we have the World of Science. Let's see what they have been doing. So their videos haven't been doing too hot. And if we go to popular, we see again the Earths, and we can't really find patterns on here. Again, we do see videos about the galaxy did well, but there's not a clear pattern. So it's very, very important that you try and figure out, okay, what patterns can I find, right? Moving on, let's see what else we have. Perhaps we can go to most popular, so view count, and we go to last month. I see a lot of shorts, but not a lot of long form. So perhaps it's quite a particular topic, so we kind of want to go back to old time at this point. So I have noticed a certain kind of pattern. So basically what I see here is I see a lot of videos about what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning. It seems to be a topic that does pretty decently. And what we can do, so we see another one. What if Earth stops spinning for 5 seconds? What if Earth started spinning backwards? What will happen when Earth's north and south pole flip? What if Earth stopped spinning by a minute? And you see a lot of what if questions coming up. So that's interesting to take note of, because perhaps what we could do is try to kind of extrapolate what we did here, and perhaps instead of how does Earth rotation happen, we can start doing questions like what if what happens when Earth stops spinning, and then a minute by minute explanation or second by second explanation or something like that, right? We can kind of look at these topics and perhaps combine them with a fresher format. So perhaps you can find another format that you can kind of mix with these topics to create a fresh perspective on these things. Now, optimally for beginners, it might be a little bit hard to combine formats. So what you preferably want to be doing is searching for those clearer patterns where we can kind of capitalize on them by just copying what the competitors are doing instead of coming up with new things, right? So, but we can definitely see when we search up how does Earth rotation happen, that it's not the question how does Earth rotation happen that gets the most views, but it's really more the hypothetical scenario. So here we have another one. What if the Earth spun twice as fast? Or we can do other questions like, what if the Earth was 2 times as dense? Or what if the Earth was 10 meters farther away from the sun? And we can kind of test out these different type of hypotheses, right? And we can do basically the same for every single one of these videos. So let's say we search up how does gravity work, right? We can kind of study what the patterns are there. How does gravity work? And usually when I'm not sure if this channel is modeled after a specific other channel, but what we kind of want to be doing is trying to find a format or a clear format to pivot into, because I feel like the channel is a little bit all over the place as of right now, and we're truly trying to find then a science format similar that we can basically pivot into and that we can mimic. So right here, if we sort by this month, there's not much interesting. Maybe last year, and then filter out all the short form content. Let's see if we can find anything. So truly what we're trying to do is it's literally just niche research method. So we're truly trying to go through every single one of these channels and kind of see if we have outliers. So videos where there is channels where the videos have a lot more views than they have subscribers. That's kind of what we're looking for. So I see a channel that might be interesting at Word Current. Let's see what they have on this channel. So it's interesting to see that these guys are talking about atheism, and they are also performing pretty decently, although these videos have been uploaded 16 years ago. Perhaps what I also see quite a lot is these type of explainer videos would be also interesting to study. So what I would technically do is kind of look at, okay, you saw these explainer videos down here, like these thumbnails, these types of thumbnails. Might be interesting to kind of delve into them and see how those work. Perhaps we can make more analytical videos and see if they perhaps perform better. Because right now, for example, if we look at YouTube, a lot of these more analytical type of thumbnails. So think about, in the YouTube automation niche, you have a lot of channels that are showing YouTube analytics as a thumbnail, right? I think statistics and analytical thumbnails, they really seem to work quite well on YouTube at the moment. So again, yeah, you can do research into those types of formats and see what you can find. And you want to do the same analysis we did at the start to try and find a very clear pattern. And usually if you can find the same pattern across 2 or 3 channels with very similar videos and very solid results, that's where you want to be at. That's very important, because otherwise you're just going to be shooting in the dark, right? So especially as a beginner, this is very, very crucial. Now, that's the first thing I wanted to add. Now, the second thing here is basically looking at the topics. I really wonder what the thought process was behind these. So the last few videos, I think, really were a bit of a miss when it comes to the ideation. So let's just take a look at this middle video right there. I do really like the thumbnail. It has nice contrast, and technically on a textbook YouTube basis, these type of thumbnails do well because, they're contrasty and they're interesting and aesthetic to look at. The real problem with this one is the ideation behind this video just wasn't that good. So first of all, melting ice caps, Earth ticking time bomb. I think everyone kind of knows that the Earth or the ice caps melting is not a good thing for the Earth, right? So it's kind of an obvious statement. There's not much of a shock factor to it. There's not much of a intriguing reason to click, right? We all know the ice caps are a ticking time bomb, basically. So why would we even click on this video in the first place? So that's kind of the issue here. Is like, yeah, the thumbnail is really nice and well designed, and but there's just no intrigue. So nice design can only take you so far. You really have to first nail the concept, and after that you nail the design. That's how you make a viral video, right? You cannot just only rely on fancy thumbnail design to save your video with a bad idea. You really want to make sure you have the fundamental parts right, and I think that goes wrong in a lot of ways. For example, if you look at how the Mariana Trench became the most dangerous place, the deepest place in the ocean, and then 40,000 feet, first of all, is not a very interesting thing, because there have been thousands of videos on the Mariana Trench, and that it's a dangerous place, and that it's a very deep place as well. So I would instead do something a little bit more unknown, like things like there is this weird ruin in the Mariana Trench, or things like the Mariana Trench actually goes way deeper than people think, or that might not be a good one. Second thought, I would do something like scientists found the trench even more dangerous than the Mariana Trench, or the Mariana Trench is hiding a dark secret, and then make a bit of an obscure thumbnail, perhaps with a military base on the bottom of the Mariana Trench, or an interesting object on the bottom of the Mariana Trench. I think those things will automatically attract more clicks than, whatever is going on right here. But, I haven't thought them out fully. But what is very important here is that you really try and look at, okay, what did competitors do when making these types of videos, right? So if you search the Mariana Trench, and we kind of look at recent things, right? This month, if you count. So we kind of see that these thumbnails are doing well, right? So first of all, these 2D slices, you can kind of see that those are doing quite well. And then here, as you can see right here, like what they found at the bottom of the Mariana Trench shook the entire world, is already doing better than that video you uploaded right here, because it's such a bit more obscure. And that's really what you want to be looking for, right? So that is very, very crucial. Now, this might be a very short time frame, so let's go back to view count and look at a larger set of videos. So, for example, this could be interesting. So perhaps you could have made the video a little bit more specific. So, for example, the massive deep sea shark of the Mariana Trench. That already is a way more interesting topic than what you have right here. How the Mariana Trench became the most dangerous place. It's dangerous because it's one of the most it's the deepest place in the world's ocean, right? It's pretty obvious. So you kind of want to state more unobvious things, right? Because otherwise you make very, very boring videos, and you don't you obviously don't want that, right? So you can just do this by looking, okay, what were popular videos around this subject, and how were these videos structured, right? Like, what I also would kind of recognize is you often see is they make, again, like kind of like hypothetical scenarios of what happens when what happens to you in the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Or you see another one right here. If you go down, what happens when a submarine hits crush depths, right? So you kind of see that also does well. So very, very important to take note of something like that. Moving on, I think another important thing to state, and we're recording for quite a long time now, so I hope you guys told me to rant, so I'm going full out on a rant, is when we look at these videos, they're not necessarily badly edited. I wouldn't say so, but what is important to note about these videos is I kind of took a very short look at them before I started recording, just to check if it was an interesting channel to review. But one thing I really wanted to note is that, yeah, the editing is kind of nice, and the script writing is not that bad, but still there's a lot of very crucial parts lacking. And I'll explain to you what exactly right now. So let's just look at these first 30 seconds or so of the video, and just ask yourself, like, how long does it take the narrator or the script to get to the point where it actually starts talking about why the Mariana Trench is dangerous? Or ask yourself, okay, at what point would I be clicking off? So let's have a look at the first 30 or 40 seconds and just keep asking yourself those types of questions.
In the depths of the Pacific Ocean lies a realm of both wonder and danger, a place that has captured the imagination of explorers and scientists for generations. The Mariana Trench, a mysterious expanse hidden beneath the ocean's surface, stands as a testament to Earth's intricate geological history. As the deepest oceanic trench on our planet, it has beckoned adventurers and researchers to delve into its enigmatic depths in search of knowledge and discovery. However, beneath its allure lies a contrasting reality. The Mariana Trench is not only a source of fascination, but also a place of undeniable peril.
Okay, so basically it just took them 38 seconds to get to the point where they kind of start talking about why Mariana Trench is dangerous. You see how people would have already lost interest at that point. Instead, if you show the clip right at the start of the video of divers in the Mariana Trench and then something happening, and then you basically freezing the video and saying, look at this right here. This is X phenomena, right? You kind of highlight something like, oh, this is what's happening. Now, this is not the only dangerous thing hidden within the Mariana Trench. You might know you might think you are an expert on everything the Mariana Trench, but there are some dangers you don't know about. And if you start the video like that, and I'm just kind of going off the top of my head right there, but if you start a video like that, it's so much more impactful than, waiting 38 seconds with a generic intro before getting into the point. And I think this is easily fixable by, for example, just writing the hook yourself for the scriptwriter. Usually it doesn't take you more than 5 minutes or so, but it's super, super crucial for a good video. Now, this issue kind of continues throughout the entire video. You're like kind of evading this important point. I think you could have come up with way more interesting facts or a more interesting structure to present the dangers of the Mariana Trench. Perhaps you could make more of a red thread throughout the entire video. And with a red thread, I mean, like, imagine a place that the video always comes back to. So perhaps you do a timeline of how the Mariana Trench was formed, and then on each section of the timeline or each timestamp on the timeline, you highlight the most dangerous thing hidden within the Mariana Trench. So let's say we go back 60 million years, 70 million years, there was the Megalodon hidden within the Mariana Trench, or hot lava fumes hidden within the Mariana Trench, right? And then you kind of connect those things back into like a timeline, and that either goes, into the future or back into the past. So perhaps it would be better to go back into the past, right? Because the further back you go, the more dangerous it becomes, and thus you kind of make that rising tension throughout your entire video, and you give the viewer a reason to watch through the entire video, right? So there's a lot of fundamental mistakes on this channel, and I think there's definitely a possibility for this channel to turn around, but it just needs some good strategy. So the last thing I really wanted to highlight is that some of these thumbnails are a bit obscure. So, for example, this thumbnail right here. How does the ISS get oxygen? Now, I kind of, the idea is kind of funny with like trees and bubbles, but instead what I would have done is perhaps you kind of craft a high-tech room that looks like the ISS or the space station, where there's a bunch of trees, and then you put a text that says oxygen generator or something like that, or you show a picture of a super advanced machine that looks a bit obscure but interesting, and you put like an arrow and a text to it, and it says oxygen generator or something like that, right? That makes it so much more interesting than, just trees floating through space, because it's a bit obscure right now, the thumbnail. And I think if you make it a little bit more authentic and realistic, the chance that people will click is way, way higher than it is right now. So the strategy on the thumbnails is also lacking a little bit. So yeah, that's basically all the most important points for this channel. This was quite a long recording, 23 minutes long. So I really hope it was valuable. And thank you very much for watching. Cheers.